History of the Mirage Volcano.
One night I was watching Johnny Carson, and Neil Simon was on, and I think Doc Simon was plugging California Suite or something like that. And Johnny says to Doc Simon, well, how do you do it? How do you make the comedy? And Neil Simon, a very professorial guy, as you know, I'm sure he's a friend of yours, looked like Mr. Rogers. He says, well, Johnny, I look for conflict. That's where the humor comes from. And the next day, I just bought the property from Muse. I went out to the Sands Hotel and I parked my little Mercedes, and I got out of the car and I sat on the front hood of the car because they let me park by the curb. And I was looking at the land that I had bought, and I said, conflict. I was thinking of Neil Simon. And then an idea came into my mind, an image of Josh Logan, the director, doing South Pacific, and I heard Juanita Hall's voice singing, Bali High is calling, and too many orange filters.
Bali High will whisper on the wind of the sea. Here am I, your special island. Come to me, come to me.
And I said to myself, well, suppose that what you see with your eyes is not what your brain tells you should be there. We're in the harsh southern Nevada desert. Suppose you saw Polynesia, South Pacific. Wouldn't that make people say, could the inside of this place be as cool as the outside? And that would provoke them to go in, and that's how the volcano and the Mirage notion came. But, you know, it was an idea. Then I went and met Don Brinkerhoff, my landscape architect. I hired David Hersey, who did set design for Andrew Lloyd Webber, and a whole bunch of people joined Roger and I. I didn't think of the volcano, Hersey did. It was Don Brinkerhoff that designed that waterfall. We started putting things in front of the building that didn't have a cash register attached to them. A volcano that erupted, a fanciful and silly idea.
On May 27, 1987, Steve Wynn announced that he would build the world's largest hotel with a South Seas theme. Wynn wanted to design the Mirage layout to give guests the quickest access to the amenities and rooms. This design philosophy extended to the outdoors, with the casino being placed right next to the Las Vegas Strip, like most other Strip casinos. But Steve's wife, Elaine, who also helped with design, thought that was a bad idea. She said, Steve wanted to build the Mirage right off the sidewalk, and I said that we had to push it back, that people wouldn't get the benefit of the architectural design if they didn't have a frame of reference. Tony Award-winning lighting designer David Hersey was hired by Steve Wynn to do the exterior lighting for the hotel because Steve wanted a theatrical look to the resort lighting. Hersey had worked on Broadway with Andrew Lloyd Webber, but he had never designed lighting for a hotel. The Mirage was less than 1 year from completion, and the final plan for the front of the Mirage was to have a 4-acre lagoon with a 40-foot waterfall in the middle. At this time, David Hersey came up with the idea of a volcano. Wynn told Hersey to build a 1/4 scale model of this volcano, which ended up being more than 10 feet tall. The budget for the model was $100,000, but the final cost was about $1 million. Steve liked the model and gave the approval to build a volcano in the lagoon area, and it would be 50 feet tall. Hersey also came up with the idea to not just build a dormant volcano, but a volcano that would erupt with fire.
The volcano at the Mirage was a challenge that Steve Wynn put on the table, and that was to say that not even Walt Disney has attempted a volcano yet. And that was our mandate. He wanted to see a volcano that, in fact, everyone would believe it was a real volcano. What was hard was lighting it. That's what was hard, because you have the light, number one, from the explosion, but in between the explosions, the lighting effect on the tumbling water and on the stonework, that was by far the most challenging thing.
Wynn added some dolphins to the $1 million volcano model, and it stayed on property and is located next to the south pedestrian entrance walkway by Caesar's Palace. Wynn design architect DeRuyter Butler was also on the volcano design team, and he said, "We went to great lengths to make the water white on the volcano and waterfalls, creating a texture on the rock to produce microbubbles, given the white effect seen in our customers' idealized fantasy. Skin tone looks more attractive in firelight. That is what we are aiming for. The lighting was deliberate, designed to give a warm, cozy, friendly coloration." California-based Wet Design, which would go on to design the Bellagio fountains, was also brought into the design team. Wet was founded in 1983 by Mark Fowler, who was a former Walt Disney Imagineer. Mark said that, "We're in the emotions business. We make experiences that draw people in, that make people stay longer, and that make them want to come back more often."
Steve Wynn had a vision that Las Vegas could be something more than just casinos with hotel rooms. He showed the industry that they had only just begun to grow. He was the catalyst that began the building boom, where every casino had a new and bigger and better idea on how to entertain our tourist population.
Wynn didn't like the sulfuric odor from the gas that provided the fire, so a pina colada scent was added to the gas. The Mirage opened at about noon on November 22, 1989, and surpassed Hoover Dam as the #1 tourist destination in Nevada shortly after opening.
All eyes were focused on Wynn's Inn, the sprawling 3,000-room fantasy island that now dominates the Las Vegas Strip. The $620 million mega resort is the first built in Las Vegas in 15 years. It commands attention. Today, it got it.
I like the grounds and what they had inside as far as their plants and everything, the atrium. It's beautiful, the waterfall and stuff.
The volcano was the first large attraction on the Strip, and it would erupt every 15 minutes from dusk until 2 or 3 a.m. The original plan was to run the show every 7 minutes, but that caused too many traffic jams on the Strip. Steve Wynn admitted later that he made a mistake with the volcano, saying, "If I knew then what I know now, I would have put a volcano restaurant and bar where you could enjoy the volcano." MGM Grand Incorporated bought the Mirage from Steve Wynn in 2000, and the company was renamed MGM Mirage. In 2010, the company changed names to MGM Resorts International. In late 2004, MGM Mirage started to plan the only renovation of the volcano. Wet Design was brought in again to add fireballs, design more realistic lava, and have louder sounds. The new volcano show was inspired by the Bellagio fountain show. Wet's reimagining of the volcano feature at Mirage was intended to offer not merely an iconic spectacle, but a primal experience. Irrespective of geographic or environmental limits, water features such as the Mirage Volcano, like other mass media outlets, are geared toward large anonymous audiences and seek to engage them in ways that encourage social or economic actions. The water on top of the volcano would shoot 120 feet in the air with lighting simulating lava. All new to the show were trademarked fire shooters that were built into the lagoon and would shoot fireballs more than 12 feet in the air. Each flamethrower is a robot that could be synchronized to the show's soundtrack, and it took 2 years to develop the fire shooter.
So we got to pump air inside this can to keep it dry, and when it goes underwater, this hood's closed, so it keeps it like an air bubble inside. So then when it raises up, it opens up, and then it's dry where the flames come out. These weigh about 250 pounds. they're all run on a 120 volt. I mean, just like a house. Gas, we use high pressure gas. It's 47 pounds, which a normal house is like a half a pound. So it's a lot of gas that we use here as far as the gas pressure.
One giant fire shooter completes the show at the end with a 60-foot fireball. The show would double in runtime to 4.5 minutes.
Now, it doesn't look like much, but right now I'm standing in the crater of the volcano. This is where the big eruption takes place. It's where the big finale happens. And you don't want to be standing here when the volcano starts to rumble.
A small pool at the top is filled with fountains.
We have mini shooters, micro shooters, super shooters that shoot water to give us the lava effect.
Orange, red, and amber lights shine through the water at night to give it the look of lava. Each light is 1,000 watts. There are 645 of them. That's 645,000 watts of lighting to give the lava its glow. But the showstopper is the fire, and the final eruption with a fireball so big it takes a tank of gas the size of a small car to fire it.
But that's the big finale.
That's the finale.
It's got to be big.
Yeah, it's only fired one time per show.
Wet Design recruited Grateful Dead drummer Mickey Hart to come up with a soundtrack for the new show, along with tabla legend Zakir Hussain. Tabla is a pair of twin hand drums from the Indian subcontinent, and the music has been the primary percussion instrument in Hindustani classical music since the 18th century. Tabla is popular and part of the folk music in Afghanistan, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka.
We were approached to really bring a new volcano to the Strip. Really did go all out, tear it down, make it new, make it fun, make it wonderful.
Wet Design came to me and asked me if I would be interested in creating the sound for the volcano. And I just pondered it for a while.
We knew we wanted to have a piece that didn't sound like a volcano. We wanted to have a piece that was all percussion.
After seeing their demo, which really stirred my imagination, it was a computer-generated version of the way it might be. And I felt committed enough to go and actually try to translate that fire image to sound. I immersed myself in a lot of the legends and a lot of the myths, and I studied a little of the tectonics of what really makes a volcano, how it works, the science of it, and so forth. And of course, the sound as well, and the different stages that a real volcano goes through. And then when I felt that I had enough idea of how I wanted it to go, I started laying down the original tracks, and Zakir Hussain came in. There were interesting instruments used, and then Zakir played a little bit of the smaller instrument, the smaller drums, and the tonal drums, the very high-pitched, beautiful madals, which are instruments from South India. There are drums from all over the world that we used on the score. Basically, between us, pretty well cover most of the percussive universe. It was about powerful drums. It was about evoking the spirits.
It's much more lyrical. It's much more full. It's much more involved.
It's very powerful event sonically. So we just want to build it up, because you can't blast. You have to kind of sneak up on it. It blasts. It'll sound like that was it. I think it's all over. No.
It's gonna rock really hard. There's nothing like it anywhere.
Mickey Hart said, "It's our version of a birthing of a volcano, which is filled with a lot of different kinds of emotional content, anticipation, and anxiety. It's filled with magic and power. You might even be able to feel the lava coming down on top of you." Meyer Sound was a sound designer for the new show, and they also designed the sound for Mirage's Love Theater, which is home to the Beatles' Cirque show. There are more than 60 Myers sound cabinets around the lagoon. Lasers were built around the volcano show area that is part of an intrusion system. The show will automatically shut down if someone steps over the fence into the lagoon area.
If somebody crosses through that, it basically shuts the show off. That way nobody's going to get burned or hurt in the feature.
Ever happened?
Yeah, we have it once in a while. We mainly have ducks that fly through them because we have ducks in our water. But, you know, the New Year's Eve and that kind of stuff, we get people that want to try to
get close to the action.
Get close, yes, exactly.
The volcano would also get a whole new exterior, with the entire renovation costing $25 million. In 2008, the volcano was closed for renovations. Mirage president Scott Sabella said in September 2008, "The new volcano will be the crowning jewel of the Mirage. I think it's going to bring traffic flow back into the property. It creates a lot of demand to stay here to see the volcano." It tells a story that if a casino is spending $25 million on this volcano, what have they done inside? We are doing this so we can stay competitive with all these new properties on the Strip. Sabella also mentioned that the Mirage might add a bridge connecting the volcano to the casino entrance, saying that it does draw thousands of people for every eruption, but the challenge is getting them inside the property. The opening ceremony for the new volcano show started at 4:45 p.m. on December 8, 2008. Las Vegas Mayor Oscar Goodman was on hand for the big moment. After the volcano erupted for the first time, there was a 2-minute firework display in the sky, and the Mirage presented a donation to the Clark County School District for music education. The volcano show was every hour after dusk, 7 days a week. But the Great Recession of 2008 almost shut down the volcano renovations. Sabella said, "At the time, we had already gone through this process for 3 or 4 years, but we got to the point where we had to continue it because we had so much time and money invested in it." Other MGM Resorts construction projects were shut down because of the recession. During the grand opening ceremony, Robbie Knievel, son of the late Evel Knievel, announced that he was going to jump the volcano on New Year's Eve. This would be the 4th jump for Robbie in Las Vegas. But 46-year-old Robbie Knievel jumped beside the volcano, not over the volcano.
We are live, and behind me is the volcano here at the Mirage Hotel. If you haven't seen it yet, you've got to come here and witness the eruption. It's absolutely awesome. So awesome that it inspired Daredevil Robbie Knievel to take on another spectacular death jump.
Our new volcano itself cost over $25 million. together with our room renovation and all the fabulous upgrades, makes the Mirage the hottest place on the Strip. And 2009 will be our 20th anniversary, and what better way to kick off the year than having Robbie jump over our new volcano.
This thing is the difference between a Piper Cub and the space shuttle. Computers overlaid upon computers overlaid, process logic systems overlaid upon safety systems, overlaid upon human interface systems. It is by far the most complex thing.
The volcano is the largest fire attraction in the world. It is the most complicated fire attraction in the world. As we watch, the crowd is gathered on the Strip. To get that approach cleanly was the toughest part of this entire jump. And as he lands cleanly rear wheel first, there's got to be a moment there where you really have trouble even seeing the landing ramp through all that pyro.
Kind of like the guy that started this place. I can't see nothing when I'm in the flames.
Worked out well for him, and it worked out well for you. Congrats, my friend.
In 2015, MGM Resorts reduced the number of shows in order to save energy and money. The show schedule was every 30 minutes from dusk to midnight. The new show would be 8 and 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, with an additional 10 p.m. show on Friday and Saturday. MGM Resorts said, with the variety of offerings on the Las Vegas Strip today, in contrast to 25 years ago, it made sense to us to reduce the number of shows in a way that wouldn't diminish the visitor experience. MGM also said that they would monitor the energy use, how much money was saved, and the reaction from visitors about the reduced schedule. Eventually, the show schedule was changed back to a daily schedule every hour from 7 or 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., depending on the time of year. Nearly every day, a handful of engineers get into the water or onto the volcano to do maintenance.
I'm Kurt Aaron. I'm the lead engineer of the volcano at the Mirage. This is the control room, and we have two guys on night shift that run it. And this machine right here is the brains of it. This kind of operates the volcano. So they changed the show. It used to be like a traditional volcano. They kind of changed it, so now the fire is kind of synchronized to the music. And then we also have a wind sensor, so we don't want the flames to blow out in the audience. So at 10 miles an hour, it shuts the show off. You can see the glass. This is on the back side. They're called crags. And at night, when the volcano's erupting, these lights come on, and it looks basically like the rocks are kind of cracking, or maybe you could say lava flow, but it's pretty interesting effect. The deepest point's about 5.5 feet. So most of the work that we do out there, you're standing in chest-high water, but you're working underwater with your hands. Once in a while, we got to get tanks, and they got to go under if it's close to the bottom and work. Probably never a day that we're not somewhere in the water or rappelling off the rocks. The old volcano, it was about 20 years old, so it was getting structurally just deteriorating. So they came to a point where they wanted to take it down and refurbish it. The old volcano was stripped down back to this wall right here. Everything was stripped down, and all this is brand new.
This is 7 at 7 from the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
One of the first ultra-luxury resorts on the Las Vegas Strip is changing hands. MGM Resorts announced it will sell the operations of the Mirage to Hard Rock International for more than $1 billion. Hard Rock plans to build a guitar-shaped hotel on the property and name it Hard Rock Las Vegas.
I think it's just such an iconic part of Las Vegas at this point. You know, it's like if they took the Statue of Liberty out of New York. It's just something that people, when they think of Vegas, they think of the volcano.
And suggests there might be a way to preserve it.
I think the Mirage is such a significant property historically, and the volcano is such a big part of the Mirage. It might be a real mistake just to get rid of it, you know, and maybe it can be incorporated into the new design in some way.